Star Trek writer David Gerrold loves to just like throw shade at other writers. He's very petty, he's very catty, and it's sad. I've actually talked with David Gerrold several times over my life, and before he knew my politics, he was nice to me, of course. I actually had to moderate a panel he was on back before Science Fiction all canceled me. It was tough because even back then, he liked to shoehorn the political agenda into just basic science fiction topics, and you couldn't really control him. He just is one of those guys who would never quiet up for the rest of the panel, and that's what he is. And that's what he's being right now as he's talking about the Sad Puppies again in 2025 and throwing shade at Vox Day, Larry Correia, and Brad Torgersen once again. My gosh, it never seems to end. And there's a reason for this, which I'll get into in just a moment. The ride does never end in the culture wars, my friends, and what we're fighting for in science fiction is very, very important because we're fighting for the heart and soul of American culture, and we're trying to bring it back again. I'm trying to do so as a science fiction writer myself. Worldcon banned me in 2018 because of my YouTube videos like this. They said I was a racist bully. I sued them, and I won. They've spent over $130,000 fighting me, and of course, I've built a career since then just writing and doing more and more and more. And I'm about to release a new series called The Valiant Frontiers. This is a space exploration series. It's all about space exploration and fun, bringing back science fiction what it was. If you like Star Trek what it used to be, this is where it's going to be for you. I always like to say it's about exploring strange new worlds, not exploring strange new genders like the new stuff is, and you're really going to dig this. This full trilogy is going to be dropping on a crowdfund, and I really appreciate you guys for being here. The art's by Lolo Guzman, one of the best artists out there. He does with these classic painting style that are awesome, and I really enjoy his work. And so grab this today. It is going to be out soon, and it's on my newsletter, and so I'll be dropping that information here just so I don't lose you. Make sure to go into the description, sign up for the newsletter. You get 3 free books for doing so, and then you won't miss my crowdfund campaign when it launches. Thank you guys so much for supporting real science fiction. So David Gerrold attacked the Sad Puppies again because Wired re-released this piece from 2015 where they actually added a bunch more to it. Sci-Fi's Hugo Awards and the battle for pop culture's soul. Here it is. A battle over diversity is raging in the world of science fiction. It's a battle for the soul of all popular culture. As you saw, over the last 10 years, culture went incredibly woke. It went crazy. They went way over the rails. It's still happening today. And all of Hollywood, all of publishing has just made all normal people not welcome because of this diversity push. Ironically, whenever they talk about diversity, they mean a monoculture. They mean everything has to look exactly the same. Everything has to have a Netflix cookie cutter thing where the lead's replaced by a female, and she's got a gay black best friend and ambiguous race Asian or Mexicanish person we can't really tell along with them as well. And the white males have to look stupid every single time. That's what they do. That's what they mean by diversity. It's not diverse whatsoever. We've seen the same product cookie cut over and over again. It is completely soulless. It's completely inhuman is what it is, because nobody's allowed to actually have their differences anymore. Everybody has to be exactly the same and have the exact same monolithic Democratic Party approved beliefs. Otherwise, you're out. And that's what Hollywood's done. That's what publishing does. That's what the gaming industry's done. They've really, really corrupted this stuff, and that's why a lot of people have just checked out over the years. So this is what they talk about. The year is 2108. Things aren't going so well in Team Humanity. Earth's overcrowded, whatever. This is Wired's writing from 2015. And The Lines of Departure is one of the 2015 Hugo finalists for the Best Novel category, is what they say right here. Clues found himself saying at this email, he was ecstatic. This is the Hugo we're talking about. And this is the big one. Pretty happy time, sure. The genre gives other prizes, the blah, 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 but this is the Oscars. And so they're setting up what the Hugos is, which is science fiction's biggest literary awards, or it was. Nobody really cares anymore. Now, how they frame this is ridiculous. It's devastating when he realizes later that his shortlisting was a sham. Now, what happened was Larry Correia made a list of, like, these are some great novels I like. Marco Cluse did a great job here with this novel, and he put it up there. He didn't even care what people's politics were, which is, in hindsight, a stupid thing. And when you include liberals and stuff like this, you're going to get the fallout that the Sad Puppies ended up being. And so what happened is he made this list, and he made a reason for the list, saying, look, these books over the last few years do not represent fandom. They are not what people actually want to read. They are just woke nonsense. And woke wasn't really the term back then, but that's what they were talking about. And so they actually had crazy stuff. One of the ones that won the award was a poem called If You Were a Dinosaur, My Love. And it was all about a woman fantasizing over having sex with a dinosaur. It had nothing to do with science fiction whatsoever. And they clapped for it because it was interspecies, LGBT, whatever, bestiality, which is, I guess, what they, that's the next step for all this stuff. And so that's what they wanted to give awards for all the time. And so Larry Correia just went through and he found some books that he really liked and thought they were a lot of fun and went over them as well. Now, as much as they paint all this stuff as like, it's against women and against this and against that, Correia actually didn't, they included women, they included all this stuff, they included whatever they thought was fun as a read. And again, that was their mistake. They should have made it explicitly right-wing. I think those guys were a little bit cowardly and didn't really want to fight the fight like we do. That's why they backed away eventually. But at the same time, that's what it was. And so that's where it all ended up. And then they just got painted as, you're anti-woman, you're anti-black, you're a bad person through here, like they usually do. And so they talk about this whole thing as a point in the culture war, which they made it. And all of this, it got into the Los Angeles Times, it got into everything. And they started calling Larry Correia and the like Nazi, bigot, et cetera, to try to destroy them. And so what happened was during that year when all this stuff got these award nominations, David Gerrold and some others went and said, you know what, these guys got award nominations. I don't like it. We're going to wreck this. And we're going to make sure nobody gets awards this year. And so you can vote no award if you don't think anything is worthy of the category. And they made sure that all of those got no awards just to spite them. Now, that sucks for Marco Cluse, who, had to virtue signal that he wasn't a part of them and didn't want it for real and the like. And it's like, well, dude, just let people vote on your book and shut up. But unfortunately, these people tried to make it, if you were not with us, you're against us, and we're going to shut you down and cancel you and destroy you. And that's what it was all about. Now, David Gerrold was very petty about this. He actually built his own fake awards for the No Awards, and actually made them, and they're wood, and they were shaped like buttholes, and he called them the wooden asterisks. And the reason he did butthole is, this is a homosexual right here, and so the Hugo Awards, people make fun of it. They're rocket ships. They are kind of shaped like, penises and things like that. So it is definitely a homosexual joke within this whole deal. It's just, this is just disgusting behavior from a professional, right, or an alleged professional, and shouldn't be the case. So that's the backstory of everything that went on back then. Now, as this was written up, David Gerrold decided to just rant about it again on his Facebook. And so, yes, it's a full wall of text. We're going to go over all of it and just where he's wrong. And brace yourself for boomer ranting, my friends. Here it is. Apparently, Wired Magazine published an expanded version of the story of the Hugo debacle. What they published is fairly accurate. It was also incomplete. Now, by the way, it was a total hit piece and just stupid and Wired, and this is exactly why that lamestream media isn't going anywhere these days. It did not include any mention of how hard the con committee worked behind the scenes or how hard everyone worked to plan and put on a successful Hugo ceremony. Here's my take on it, and look at this. The pathetic pooches never had any intention of winning any Hugos. I don't think that's true. I think Larry Correia really did want a Hugo Award. I think he thought he earned it, and I think he thought he deserved it. And I think that's kind of what the onus of it was, to be honest, on his front. Now, when Vox Day got involved, Vox Day saw that this was an institution. He knows exactly what happens with social justice warriors and all that. And he said, no, I'm just going to burn this down. And his strategy ended up proving a lot more successful. And we have a problem within the right and culture, is that a lot of us still demand and want real acceptance from the establishment. And I saw that with Correia, with Brad Torgersen back in the day. They really cared. They wanted those accolades. They were like, look, if we just are good enough, they'll have to see it eventually. And that attitude just doesn't work, because when you're dealing with SJWs, they don't view you as a person. They view you as Charlie Kirk. They just want to shoot you and have you dead, right? And then they'll laugh about it afterwards and call you a fascist. That's the level that we're at now, and these guys are starting to see this a little better than they used to be fair. But back then, they really thought, if we just keep ourselves buttoned up and all that, they'll love us one day. And that was probably the whole problem with what they were trying to do and why it wasn't successful. Now, like I said, Vox Day was very successful in burning it down a couple years later, but this is something else. From the very beginning, their intention was to destroy the credibility of the awards. Now, this is what Vox Day eventually did. There were 3 primary actors. Look at this. Vox Bray. He can't even say his name. It's like he's Voldemort. It's a he who must not be named. Cannot re-enter the United States lest he be arrested for tax fraud. That's a complete lie on that front. Larry Correia, who's misspelled his name. who was still pissed at not winning an award in a previous year, and Brad Torgersen, who should have known better to be the hood ornament in a battering ram. Now, Brad Torgersen just follows whatever Larry Correia does. Typically, the guy's a bit of a clout chaser. Decent writer. Larry's a good writer. And but again, they were just fundamentally not understanding how crazed the SJWs were and really thinking, they could sway opinions just by facts and logic, which doesn't work, right? And so they're bitter about that these days, and that's how it goes. But oh well. They ran a slate of 5 Hugo categories, bought enough votes to push the other candidates more deserving. See, probably more deserving, which probably because they weren't off the ballot. I'll leave it to others or the wild articles to rehash the details. One thing proves my point of intention was disruption. Neither Correia nor Torgersen bothered to attend the convention. This is pretty interesting, and I think that is a mistake. I think they should have gone, and I think they should have actually tried to confront these people about what's going on. I attempted to go. Maybe they didn't because of what happened to me a couple years later. I attempted to go because I saw what was happening in the culture, and I was like, you know what? We got to stake our claim and just say we're not going to be just go away. And I wanted to be there, and like if they wanted to talk and see a human face for the people that they're rude to online all the time, I'd be that, and that's what I was hoping to do. And when that happened, they banned me immediately, and then libeled me, of course. So maybe they were trying to avoid that, but they were already getting called Nazi in the media. So it's like, what does it even matter? But that said, if any truly believed in their cause, they would have shown up to defend their position. For those who weren't there, came in late. The membership of Sasquatch was the largest membership in Worldcon history because Correia's fans went and bought a bunch of them, mostly non-attending members who joined for voting in the No Award in the all pooch slated categories. The smackdown of the pooches was evidenced by the applause of the audience. Now, again, the audience that was present are mostly people who work for Tor Books and Del Rey and these companies who are inside the publishing industry, who, by the way, run private slates for their own companies and the like, and then get those voted in regularly. And so that's what they do, and it's a bunch of publishing insider games. So when some publishing outsiders came in and they actually have fans doing it, well, screw those pooches, right? And that's exactly the attitude they have. Of course they were clapping for it. And they clapped for their own demise because nobody reads those books anymore. Nobody cares about the Hugo Awards. I think the current Hugo Award winner for this year got something like 535 votes. Yeah, please clap for that. You want to talk about destroying things. It did destroy the credibility of the Hugo Awards, is the truth of what happened. By the way, I do know something about this because I was in the Hugo ceremony host. It was my intention from the beginning of the evening would be a joyous celebration of the fanish community. Right. Yeah, he wanted to, of course, mock these people, destroy them, and cancel them is really the case. Let me say it in the clear. The Worldcon is a gathering of marvelous extended family who come together to celebrate our love of imagination. Yeah, bullshit. It's become increasingly political in years, and over, and all they do is talk about whiny politics things and, how can you be an ally to the lesbians? How can you be an ally to the transgenders? Like, they have panel after panel. They actually called it diversity, equity, and inclusion as a track in there this year. And this is why they're failing, and this is why it's slowing down. That's why nobody's going anymore, because it's just not fun. This is about entertainment. This is the stuff we used to read back in the day, right? This is John Brunner's Interstellar Empire. Look at just how cool and fun this is right here. They don't make books like this anymore. Well, I do. And that's exactly why they don't want you to find out about them, right? That's the whole deal right here. If you find out about this, they can't compete with it. They know that. And so this is why they work so hard to try to destroy everybody personally on this level. It's not a fun sort of thing. It's not a family sort of thing. It's a hateful bigotry from people like David Gerrold, who are hateful bigots of Christians and conservatives. Let's just be honest about it. There's no diversity. There's no celebration. It's a monolith. They hate diversity. They say inclusivity by excluding people. It's all a lie and a sham, and they know that, and so they can't be confronted about it, because if they do, David Gerrold can't talk to me. If he was able to talk to me, he'd throw a fit. That's why he's got me blocked on Facebook, right? Very funny. So based on the evidence that Wired's rehashing the squabble, it may be that the rift was irreparable. It's likely that some of those who are the most visibly aligned with that movement will remain separated away from that community that celebrates genre in which they work. Yeah, what gaslighting there. Like I said, they're mostly industry insiders right now and not fans whatsoever. It may be that some of them will have profitable careers away from fanish community, and that's certainly earned a measure of success, but they crave the approval of the community. That ship never sailed, it sank in the harbor. And I do think that is a problem with what Correia was looking for, was craving the approval of the establishment. And over the years, he's shown that he's done so. He was posing with the president of the Science Fiction Writers of America back in 2020 at Gen Con. It's like, why are you posing with that lady? She hates you and wants you dead. Why are you even at Gen Con? They hate you and want you dead. But again, they do want that. They yearn for that. I guess that's the difference with my generation and theirs, is like I've seen how bad it was since I was a kid, and I have no interest in being a part of it. I do want it all to burn down because it's evil. I think these people are evil, and I think they want me dead. They killed Charlie Kirk, guys. And so obviously we know where they're standing. And so I'm not looking for approval. I'm looking to change things for real. And that's kind of the difference between what we're doing now with our culture war sort of stuff and what was being done back then. We've learned a lot over the last decade for sure. Now, what do I know about community? Any community is this: you do not create change by standing outside and hurling invective. You create change by coming a part of the community, supporting it, advocating for efforts, blah, 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 and supporting everyone. Yeah, supporting all the people who hate you is a great idea. So this is such gaslighting craziness right here. The mistake they made was declaring themselves the enemy of Worldcon. They created their own opposition. Not exactly. And again, Vox Day understood that Worldcon as an establishment was never going to work, and that's why he did what he did. And I think he was very successful because, again, they don't matter anymore. They're not relevant anymore. It doesn't matter what they say, who they publish anymore. We can have careers and do this and do very, very well without this. I'm doing better than ever before this year, all because I have my own community. It's you guys, the community here on YouTube. More people watch this video than watch any panel at Worldcon, and that's the funniest part about all this stuff. I know some of them walked away with claiming a great victory. They blew a hole in the Hugo Awards, yes and no. They damaged one year's awards, but the Hugos are still here. Yeah, and nobody's voting for it. It was a Pyrrhic victory. They damaged themselves, their reputations, careers, more than any lasting damage they might have inflicted on Worldcon. Actually, it didn't matter. Larry Correia is more successful than ever. He's doing great. Vox Day is more successful than ever. He actually runs the biggest and most prestigious publishing house out there now, Castalia Library, that builds beautiful leather-bound books and premium quality stuff beyond anything else out there. Torgersen kind of went away, but he didn't want to fight in this stuff, so it is what it is, right? And so that's where they went. And again, we're doing things bigger and better than ever before. David Gerrold's certainly not. He's just got a dwindling audience at this point, and his complaining about everybody else like this is not helping anything. And of course, gaslighting everybody about it 10 years later is not going to garner him a bigger audience, right? He says, I think the evidence of their failure was on display at the Hugo ceremony. The audience was overwhelmingly against them. Again, publishing insiders, they don't matter. Perhaps they expected to be acknowledged somehow. Perhaps they expected to garment rending, but no, they got a smack down. And we acknowledged there was an asterisk on the year's award and sold wooden asterisks, this is what he did, to commemorate that. And there it is. That's how fandom works. What they never misunderstood. That's why they lost. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure I outsell David Gerrold in his current year writings that he does. I love that he did the Star Trek Troubles with Tribbles back in the day, but he's very obviously a bitter old man who hates people. And that's exactly why we're going to win, because they're about hate, they're about fakeness, they're about lies, and we're about the truth, justice, and the American way. And that is going to win out every single time, as we're seeing. 2025 has been a banner year, and I think we do have a long way to go in the culture. We have a lot of fight. The ride never ends, my friends, but we are doing good work here, and it's going to continue to affect change and are affecting change because we are far more passionate, we're far more earnest, we're far more truthful, and we're actually more talented than these guys. It's going to be a big deal. So I appreciate you guys being here. This is what David Gerrold's doing in 2025. My gosh. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to sign up for my newsletter. Super important because I don't want you to miss this release. It's going to be great. And thank you for signing up, for supporting my books. I do have books on Amazon if you want to check those out as well. Let's make science fiction great again. Join our community and let's build better.